Welcome to day 2 of soul care. Yesterday, we looked at energy, prana, chi, vitalism, and we also reflected on our beliefs around healing. And we're going to do a deeper dive today on energy and allowing ourselves to be able to feel those subtle energy centers of our body. We're going to explore the chakras, their specific flavors, the glands that are associated or plexi that are associated with them. And we're also going to explore using our breath to help open and energize these chakras. In the Ayurvedic system, we talk about prana. And prana essentially is, again, that universal life force energy that we are able to receive through our breath. In traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about qi. And qi is also that life force energy that we receive through our breath. And we also consider food, the nutrients that we consume, as part of that life force energy. Now, the chakras are essentially where there is a concentration of the energy in our bodies. They're kind of like hubs, if you will. And the way that they function is really through being able to absorb, concentrate, expand, and constrict this energy. Ideally, the chakras are able to flow energy freely. It's often when we have some kind of impactful event, if we're not breathing correctly, if we're constricting, if there's an emotional disturbance, that these chakras may tend to constrict, to get smaller, or not be able to move energy. So let's talk about the different chakras and their functions. There's about 7 of them, and we're going to start at the base of the spine called the root chakra. And at the base of the spine, we have this concentration also of nerves. We also can look at the root chakra as the adrenal glands in the sense of their main theme is safety, survival, sensing. And the way to access this chakra and support this chakra is really to feel grounded. It's the main purpose, is feeling that sense of foundational grounding. If you've had a lot of stress, this can be a chakra that may need a lot of support. And as a nurse, this chakra for me was constantly being stressed, if you will, because we think about our patients, right? If it's not our personal safety, our family's safety, we think about the safety and the security of our patients. Now, if we move just a little bit higher, we go into the second chakra, and the color, of the first chakra is red. The color of the second chakra is going to be orange. And this, once we've felt the safety, the sense of our being, the groundedness, then we move into another energetic experience of creation, of pleasure, being able to reproduce. Now, the gland, if you will, would be the ovaries, the testes, the reproductive organs that are associated with this chakra. As we move a little bit higher, we get above the belly button and really into the solar plexus. And this essentially, there's a bundle of nerves that are associated there. In certain philosophies, it's related to the pancreas, the spleen. And really, this is the seat of our willpower, our fire, our ability to feel our sense of self and who we are. So we're moving kind of in this developmental experience, if you will. So safety first with a root chakra, and then we move into pleasure, creativity as a second chakra, and then our sense of self with the third chakra. The color is yellow, and the energetic themes around it is in our sense of being, our ability to be able to also digest things, digest information, and to gain a sense of knowledge and evolution from that information, and to discard what we don't want to be ourselves, we don't want to develop into, and also of information and experiences that may not be serving us. That's the energetic experience and function of the solar plexus chakra. As we move a little bit higher, we get into the heart chakra. It is also known as anahata. Its color is green. And while it's located in the center of the chest, we also perceive the arms as being part of the heart chakra. And it's essentially kind of how we are able to perform our love into the world is really through our hands, right? So it's an extension of love. If love is not manifested, if there's a blockage in this chakra, it typically relates to grief and sadness. And so if there's been a lot of sadness or grief in your life, this may be a chakra that may need a little bit more support. Okay, as we move on further up, we move into the throat chakra. It's associated with really kind of the thyroid. And this is where we speak our truth, our ability to be able to communicate. The color is a light blue. And we'll talk about sound as being a crucial part of being able to support this chakra. As we move further up, we get into the third eye. And this is really where we are able to visualize for ourselves our purpose, our path, visualize our truth, be able to see it literally in our mind's eye. And the negative aspect of this is looking at things and looking and creating, imagining things that may not be serving us. Like for me, I would visualize the worst case scenario. That would be the way that I would essentially kind of block this chakra or constrict this chakra, is I would anticipate all the worst case scenarios. And so my third eye for sure needed a lot of support. And so as we move further up, and the color of that is a very light purple. And as we move up, we get into the crown and for the third eye, it's the pineal gland. It's where melatonin is produced. So it essentially is tied to kind of these dreamlike states. Now, the crown chakra is almost a white purple color, and the gland it's associated with, I believe, is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus essentially kind of has an overarching function towards the adrenal glands, the thyroid gland, pretty much is in control of all these different chakras and endocrine glands, and essentially kind of has a broad perspective on what's going on in the body. So those are all the different chakras. And next, we're actually going to run through a quick breathing exercise that will just allow us to visualize these chakras and start to connect with them. Now, if you're like me, when I first heard about the chakras, I had no idea what they were and also didn't have really a connection to it. I had to build a connection because part of me just didn't really see it. And it was only when I started to feel and get into my body and really practice the sense of perception, just like you would say with a stethoscope. You don't, when you were practicing with a stethoscope, you didn't hear right away the, say, if you were hearing regurgitation or some kind of arrhythmia, you didn't hear it right away. You had to listen over and over again to many different heartbeats, and then finally you were able to perceive it, and you were able to sense it. And it's very much like the chakras too. Some people have an innate sense of it and they're just, oh, I feel it. And some people, they just need a little bit more practice in being able to palpate and sense these really subtle energies. So I'm going to invite you now to get grounded, feeling your feet on the floor. If you're sitting, feeling the back being supported by the chair, allowing your shoulders to cascade down away from your ears. And then also softening the features of the face. And while universal energy really is your breath, you're going to take in a deep inhale, allowing it to kind of go over the vocal cords, almost as if you're trying to, say, breathe on glass and create that steam. That type of breathing is called Ujjayi breathing, and it's known to really strongly help the vagus nerve get toned and move into a deeply parasympathetic state. So as you breathe, I invite you to kind of constrict those vocal cords and create that sound. And as you breathe, I'm going to invite you to imagine that the breath can go all throughout your body, that it can move not just from your chest and down to your belly, but it can move to your fingers and your toes. That you can send your breath anywhere. And then I'm going to invite you to visualize that on the exhale, the breath comes up, and on the exhale, the breath comes down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. And on your next breath, I'm going to invite you to visualize or imagine in your mind's eye, sending the breath down to the root, very first chakra, down to the base of your spine. And we'll take a few more breaths, imagining that chakra expanding with every inhale and contracting with every exhale. Remember, the color is red. So imagine that red ball of light expanding and contracting as you breathe. Then I'm going to invite you to send your breath down to the second chakra, located below your belly button around the reproductive organs. And then as you're breathing in and out, you are imagining that red ball, or excuse me, orange ball getting bigger and expanding and contracting. Continuing again, still with that deep Ujjayi breathing. I invite you to visualize a yellow golden color in your belly. That is going to be your third chakra. And imagine that expanding and contracting with every breath. Taking a few more breaths here. Still bringing that deep ujjayi quality to your breath. It's almost as if you're hearing the waves coming in and out of the shore. And then I invite you to send your energy, imagine it coming to your heart center, filling up that green colored ball of light. Maybe even sending the breath down to the fingertips. Spending a few more breaths here, enjoying the energy of the breath filling up your heart chakra. And I invite you to send your breath through your throat chakra. Again, this light blue colored round ball, expanding and contracting with every breath. Taking another deep breath here. And then sending the breath between your third eye. Imagining that there is a light purple ball of light. Expanding and contracting with every breath. And we'll take another breath here, and then send the breath to the crown chakra. Feeling it at the very top, the vertex of the head. Imagining that there is a white light, and that with every breath, that white light is expanding and constricting. And to close this exercise, I'm going to invite you to imagine that on your next inhale, you're able to see the breath coming up through all the chakras, all the way to the crown. And on the exhale, coming back down. Do that one more time, sending the breath all the way up through the chakras, from root all the way to the crown, and then coming back down. I hope that this was relaxing. I hope that you were able to connect with a very, very deep, subtle part of yourself. I invite you to practice this all throughout the week and just notice what you observe as you're doing this exercise. Tomorrow, we're going to continue our exploration of the energy centers in our body. And thank you for tuning in today.